U.S. President Donald Trump is once again calling on NATO allies to impose sanctions on Russia for its war on Ukraine. In a post this morning on Truth Social, Trump writes, in part, "I am ready to do major sanctions on Russia when all NATO nations have agreed and started to do the same thing, and when all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia." He goes on to say, NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia. Trump says he is ready to go, just say when. Meanwhile, more NATO countries are joining a new defense mission after multiple Russian drones entered Polish airspace this week. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte calls the incursions reckless and unacceptable.
What happened on Wednesday was not an isolated incident. Russia's recklessness in the air along our eastern flank is increasing in frequency.
Poland shot down a number of drones on Wednesday. NATO has launched Operation Eastern Sentry in response. It's aimed at strengthening Europe's eastern flank and better integrate air and ground capabilities by moving troops closer to the region. Tensions have been high across Europe since Poland accused Russia of the incursion. Moscow insists it did not intentionally attack Polish targets. For more on NATO's effort to bolster its defense, we reached out to Michael Bosserque. He's a global affairs analyst and a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council.
Should have been done many, many years ago after the first occupation of eastern Ukraine in 2014. Why it's taken NATO, EU countries so long to wake up to the Russian threat is beyond me, certainly beyond anyone here in Ukraine. But we saw a good example the other day on how exposed NATO's eastern flank is by these drones entering. And Poland not doing a very, very good job in terms of shooting them down. I believe it was about 4 out of almost 2 dozen, where when Ukraine deals with Russian drones, they get between 80 and 90%. And what NATO and Polish forces did was deploy very, very expensive kit, jet fighters and other kit to bring these drones down. It's like, to use a Canadian euphemism, like shooting a canoe with a cannon. So the Russians saw this. They know where the vulnerabilities are. They're testing in advance of a possible further advance into Europe. That's the straight line here that everyone has to get into their head. It's important to remind people this is not the first time that Russian drones have gone into neighboring countries. It's happened before, and we've had remnants of them fall to the ground. So, this is also Russia bringing the war to the doorstep of people in Poland. I think Poland should reciprocate in kind by banning Russian visitors from coming from the Schengen zone, because they can enter visa-free once they're in that zone, and also pressuring Brussels to unfreeze that 200 billion or so euros in frozen Russian assets and give that to Ukraine for more weaponry and for reconstruction.
Michael Bosserque is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council.